employees do not deserve their jobs. Federal employees do not deserve their paychecks. And these are jobs that can be fired at will.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is part of a pathetic and embarrassing branch of government that can't govern and has ceded power to an unelected billionaire, has the audacity to claim all federal workers, a third of which are veterans, don't deserve a paycheck. She made her disgusting comments while defending Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency, which has been anything but. Now, Greene was responding to comments from Illinois Democratic Representative Raja Krishnamurthy, who urged House Republicans to avoid the privatization of the US Postal Service. So I want to be clear. What spurred her reaction is an effort to protect postal workers. Postal workers, the ones who go out and deliver mail and packages to rural parts of the country that UPS doesn't deliver to, FedEx doesn't deliver to. Everyone loves the post office, except for, I guess, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who doesn't think that those workers deserve a paycheck. Let's watch.
Democrat colleagues across the aisle are complaining and pitching tantrums over Elon Musk and his DOGE teams cutting waste, fraud, and abuse from the executive branch and the federal government. Claiming this is unconstitutional is an outright lie. Article 2 of the Constitution clearly states that the executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States of America. President Trump exercised that power by appointing Mr. Elon Musk as a special government employee. This is not unconstitutional. 72% of Americans, this is on both sides of the aisles, you guys. These are people in your district, these are people in my district, agree that we need to cut the ridiculous amount of waste, fraud, and abuse because Americans, all of us together, are $36 trillion in debt. $36 trillion in debt is what should be unconstitutional.
Yeah, I mean, Greene is right. $36 trillion in debt is a lot. In fact, we spent $1 trillion servicing that debt last year. That's a lot of money. So she's right about that. Greene is also correct in stating that most Americans like the idea of rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government. I mean, who wouldn't favor that? For example, a Harvard-Harris poll released on Monday found that 72% of respondents support the existence of a government agency that focuses on cutting waste. Specifically, let's take a look. 67% of voters say the current level of US federal government debt is unsustainable. I agree with that. 83% of voters favor reducing government expenditures over increasing taxes. I think taxes need to be increased in some areas, particularly corporate taxes. We have corporations like Amazon that are incredibly successful, incredibly profitable, and because of the Trump era tax cuts from 2017, get tax refunds from the federal government. I think that's insane. Now, 77% say a full examination of all government expenditures is necessary, which I also agree with. 70% of voters say government expenditures are filled with waste, fraud, and inefficiency. Democrats, 58% of them agree. 78% of Republicans say the same, and 75% of independents agree. And 69% support the goal of cutting $1 trillion of government expenditures. But notably, and this is important, that poll doesn't get into the specifics of what respondents mean when they're thinking about waste. And given the high favorability Americans consistently express toward the United States Postal Service, I highly doubt those are the workers they want to axe. They're likely thinking about the Pentagon, which can't pass a single audit if their life depended on it. They've failed 7 in a row. What about the fact that pharmaceutical companies are free to price gouge our Medicare system for the price of medication? Why isn't DOGE fighting to allow Medicare to simply negotiate for better drug prices so American taxpayers don't get fleeced? But I will admit that Trump is great at marketing because according to the same poll, 60% of voters think DOGE is helping make major cuts in government expenditures. But that 60% might be an outlier because it hasn't been replicated in other polling. The Washington Post and Ipsos found that many Americans believe Elon Musk might be taking things too far. 52% disapprove of Musk shutting down federal programs that he deems unnecessary, compared to only 26% who approve. Other polling yielded similar results. Only 28% believe Musk's role in the government is a good thing, according to a poll from CNN and SSRS published last week. When asked whether the SpaceX CEO has too much power in decision making, 55% agreed in a recent Quinnipiac University poll versus 36% who said the billionaire has about the right amount. And over half, 54% of Americans surveyed by Pew at the end of January had a more negative take on Musk's DOGE, while an Emerson College poll last week found that 45% disapproved of the job he was doing, compared to 41% who approved. So when it comes to government waste, the devil is in the details. But the details don't matter much to the likes of Congresswoman Greene.
Not doing everything we can to save the American people their hard-earned tax dollars. You can protest all you want outside of departments of this government. You can protest all you want, but the American people disagree with you. You're protecting the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is not a business. Those are not real jobs producing federal revenue. By the way, they're consuming taxpayer dollars. Those jobs are paid for by the American tax people who work real jobs, earn real income, pay federal taxes, and then pay these federal employees. Federal employees do not deserve their jobs. Federal employees do not deserve their paychecks. And these are jobs that can be fired at will. But you want to know why? The American people can't pay for it anymore.
Let's talk about federal government employees who don't deserve a paycheck. Because she seems to fail to realize that she's a federal employee that collects a yearly salary of $174,000 and gets the best health benefits in the country. And what have her constituents gotten in return? Fundraising for her campaigns and performative shenanigans? Congress members work fewer than half of the days in any given year. But those work days account for only legislative days, defined as an official meeting of the legislative body to do the people's business, according to federal records. The House works about 2 days a week, and 2 days a week, and the Senate works a little more than that. You want to talk about who doesn't deserve a paycheck? Take a look at Congress. According to House records, according to those records, the House of Representatives has averaged 146.7 legislative days a year. Okay, they work 146 days a year. Since 2001, that's been the case. But Greene actually thinks she deserves more pay, and she deserves to sit there and judge other federal workers and essentially make a blanket statement about how none of them deserve a paycheck, but she deserves more pay. Get a load of this.
Becoming a member of Congress has made my life miserable. I made a lot more money before I got here. I've lost money since I've gotten here. I have people come up to me and say crazy things to me out of the blue in public places that they believe because they read it on the internet or saw it on some news show about me. So it's not a life that I think is like something that I enjoy.
You should resign. If it's so miserable, you should resign. Meanwhile, the cuts DOGE is carrying out are definitely gutting the federal government. Now, Dante D'Antonio, who's a labor economist for Moody's Analytics, told Fox Business that we currently expect that the size of the federal workforce will shrink by about 400,000 throughout 2025 due to a combination of the ongoing hiring freeze, deferred resignations, and DOGE-initiated layoffs. Now, who those federal workers are, what role they play, whether or not they're actually necessary to, ensure that the federal government is functioning properly, we have no idea. But don't make the mistake of thinking taxpayers will enjoy massive savings. Because as we shared with you yesterday, nearly 40% of contracts canceled by DOGE are expected to produce no savings. Why? Well, because the money had already been allocated and spent. So it seems like there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in regard to the savings, a lot of cuts, more that are on the way, especially when it comes to the budget that Republicans in Congress plan to pass. And it's incredible to me how this woman, who's part of a branch of our federal government that has been completely and utterly worthless in recent decades, has the audacity to sit there and point fingers at others for being useless. If anyone is undeserving of a paycheck, it's loser politicians like Marjorie Taylor Greene. The idea that she should go after the post office disgusts me.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.